Hi guys, welcome to Earnings Season, the podcast from everymickle.com. I'm Randy Rowe at RTRowe on Twitter, and as you can hear, there is no Danai this week. We just couldn't get our schedules to sync up. I'm traveling, I'm overseas, and Danai is, I'm sure, under a mountain of work. I'm recording this the day that the QWI IPO has closed, so I'm sure things are a little hectic. But we didn't want to leave you guys out, especially because of the really, really good episode that we had last week with Ran. The conversation with Ran, 5Silly on Twitter. Thank you again, Ran, for coming through and having a really, really good conversation with us. In the middle of that conversation, you're just thinking, this is a really good conversation. This is the kind of content that I like putting out and I want to put out, So I was really happy about that. And I said it to the guys after we'd finished recording. And I figured once it went out to the public, we'd hear a lot of the same things. So said, so done. The response has been strong. It's actually on track to become our most popular episode ever. So we really couldn't get a nice little boost like that and then just leave it alone. So we decided that we wanted to give you this week a little bit of a hidden episode. Now, it's hidden, and I'm doing air quotes here because some of you might have heard it before. It's actually our pilot episode, but we have never put it up on this stream. It's the very first recording with myself and Danai when I said to, for some context, I said to him, let's do this podcast. I have this podcast idea. I think you'd be great as a co-host. You want to do it with me? He's like, yeah, let's do it. So we went and we had a really good conversation also. And you can hear the passion coming through. You can also hear the rough start of the podcast, meaning we didn't even have a name yet. We were joking. We're talking back and forth. You can also hear at some point in the background, you hear Bam from Bam Production Studios kind of guiding us to ensure that, the quality of the thing is good and, we don't do too much or we don't do too little. So it's a really nice early look at how we started. Give it a listen. Let's know what you think. I think you can hear a lot of the passion coming through, same. You hear the good stuff. Because, this isn't new. This isn't necessarily new. It's new that people are putting it out to the public, and we're really happy. Myself, I can speak for Dana in this case, that we're really happy that we're bringing it to the public so people can hear more of these sort of conversations, and they can also get a lot of the learning that we weren't getting before. So we're always happy to bring that to you guys. Give this a listen. Tell us what you think. Tell us if you like it, if you hate it, if you don't like it, if you do love it, if you want to hear Danai speak more. A lot of people have told me that, and he does speak a lot in this conversation, and we usually do speak a lot more. I've heard it enough though that I've said it to him, and I'm sure you guys will hear more of what you hear today coming out from Danai. Let me know what you think. You can give us some feedback on Twitter. That's the easiest page. You can go to the official podcast page for this podcast on Twitter at earnings_season. I'll say that again, at earnings_season. Give us a feedback, or you can give it directly to Danai if you want, or myself. You can at me, you can DM me, whatever. You can email me. It all works. If you even want, you can go earnings@everymickle.com. Email it if you really have to get it to us. But we want to hear it. We want the feedback. We crave the feedback, and we use it constantly to make a better product. So thank you for the people who've given feedback before, and thanks in advance to the people who are going to send more. We'll be back next week, of course, with more fresh episodes, and we will be doing our best to ensure that we keep our schedules working for you guys. But in the meantime, check this episode out. It is the pilot episode of Earnings Season, long before it was even called Earnings Season. Give it a listen.
All right. So, on the very first podcast, we're trying to figure out what to actually do. Then I had asked me on the way here, what exactly should we actually get done. I thought that maybe it'd be good if we're coming fresh off my first event, Grow Richard Randy Grower. The Grower event, which is called Grow Richard Randy, which is a name I honestly I do not like. I don't like the pressure of it. I don't like how it sounds. But I have to admit that it's a great idea. When a marketing idea really hits, you know it immediately. Shout out to, I don't know if I can say who it is, but it's a natural marketing genius, I think, who works for a very successful financial institution in Jamaica. And they had an internal event just for their staff, and they invited me to speak to staff of a specific department. And they invited staff by saying, Grow Richard Randy. And I saw it and I was like, Grower. I like that immediately. And I said, Jesus Christ, why are you putting this kind of pressure on me?
If you prove true, you're good.
Yeah, but it's constant pressure. Every day somebody finds out about it, and every day that person expects it. Like, it only needs one person to get it wrong. But it was a good event. I say so myself. I speak to you here not having not yet sent out the surveys that I'm sending out right after I'm finished with this, but send out the surveys. But I can tell you from anecdotal feedback coming from the people who went that they loved it. We had some hiccups. I deliberately kept it very small at the start. I wanted to keep the personal touch. Also, you want to give people a really good event. You want to give them as much as you can. And I believe like I know what I know. I know what I can do. I can guarantee my knowledge on the content, but there's so much else I can go wrong that it's important for me to ensure that I kept a small group of people so that what I bring to the table could be enough just in case anything else went wrong. And that's what happened. We had a little bit of venue issues.
And that's always good, if somebody starts small and damage control, then you know how to scale properly afterwards and get better people.
Perfect, exactly. So I thought damage control was necessary, but not that there are things that need to be fixed, and there are things that will be fixed for the next one. But I'll give you an example. After we started and things were going for the first break, I said to everybody, just at the start, I know that things have kind of gone a little bit rocky in terms of we started because we had to wait on somebody else to exit the room. Somebody went overtime. So we use that space and somebody's using the space ahead of us. So the usual Jamaican.
Yep.
And then they come out, of course, the people at, like I said, I did co-working Jamaica. And that's along Lady Musgrave Road. And I hadn't used it. I've stayed there before. I've done meetings there before, but it's the first time I did an event there. And somebody else obviously was using the space before us. It was booked closely. I can't blame them for that. That's me. I booked the event way in advance. And she warned me that there might be something. I thought, okay. Yeah. Point is, got in late, offered everybody. I said to them, I know we had a rough start, so I'll give everybody $1,000 back right now. Or I will give everybody what I think is a great stock that I'm going to put my money in. So your choice. And everybody said, no, they'd rather hear what I think is right, which was funny. I joked to him, I said, I'm happy everybody that it showed me, especially later on, it showed me how much they really believed in what I was bringing or what they cared about. And it's funny because if they're taking the refund, I would have probably still told them that was good, but it's value. And I know they learned a lot about value. I really like the event. So people see more of it. People will hear a lot more about it coming up, but I'm happy. So coming off that. And it's a great event, I think, to bring somebody in who doesn't know a lot about stocks or is just learning about stocks.
And trust me about a lot of those. I keep hearing, in where I work, I keep hearing people coming in, they don't know what they're doing, though they're starting. And even on Twitter, I get a lot of messages. Either I heard about the stock market or I heard somebody else just now speak about it. What is investing? What is the stock market? I need to learn. And I think this is a good one for people to get into it.
Yeah, it's and if I said it before, I'll say it again. So this is Danai. Danai, can I say where you work, or we shouldn't say where you work?
You can say where I work, that's fine.
Okay, so Danai does work for a broker who I consider to be one of the best brokers. I'm biased in that though, but they are one of the best brokers in Jamaica. And they are Mayberry, run by the Berry brothers.
Which is why I consider them the best.
yeah, run by the Berry brothers, who I'm a proper fan of.
Same here.
Like an OG fan. Like I'm thinking about that. Like how some people care about like football stars or so on. That's why I really rate them. I talk to somebody. Sometimes I talk to people and they think they know them. Or like, oh, Chris Berry, man. So I tell you, I never met the man. Don't know him. I literally just pay attention to the stock market, and if you pay attention to the stock market,
you'll see Chris.
You will see Chris. You'll see Chris's footprint in the market.
And trust me, it's a very big footprint.
I have made a lot of money by
just by walking with him,
paying attention to what I think his footprints are and following it. So, if you're hearing this, Mr. Berry, thank you very much. And
thank you, sir. I'm just downstairs.
Please don't get him in trouble. He's a great employee. He's one of the great employees. Big up my personal rep at Mayberry. I should also Dwayne
Neal.
Yeah, Dwayne Neal. Top rep. For the people who always asking me who I think is one of the best brokers or who I think is a good broker, there you go. A good broker is Mayberry. I'll admit though, Mayberry is not made up for the poor man. I snuck in. I'll tell you how to sneak in after a while, but it's not made for the poor man. It is $1 million to open an account at Mayberry. So you probably can just get in, but you can tell that if you pay $1 million for something, there is a service that goes along with that, and they do have the service that goes along with that.
And working there, seeing the market and coming from somewhere else, I've never seen a team work so hard
Yeah, that's right.
to deliver value.
That's
like,
right.
You're paying that $1 million for something.
Performance appraisal coming up. Yeah, that's right. Please give him a good grade. But seriously though, I can tell that the team works well together. Like I don't complain about them, but I tend not to talk about them as much on Twitter because I know
that's
they're
deep.
not for everybody. But they have recently been for everybody. What they did with the Wigton thing was a big deal. What they did with MJE last year, where they had
A millennial pool.
a big deal. I like when I see a company pay attention to that, and a lot of people ask me about that. A lot of people. That was, I think, a start of the almost extra pull that I started to see from the stock market going into
Bringing in the young people.
Yeah, bringing in the young people, which is where the market is.
That's where the country is, so we have to bring it.
There yet, but we'll have to start somewhere, and that's what's happening.
And even for Wigton, like most people, they speak about the inclusiveness of the IPO in general, but maybe even had a margin for millennial people. So
Yeah, and for people who don't know, so margin is like a loan. It's called a margin loan. It's essentially they will lend you the money
to invest.
Yeah. And they had that so if you're under 30 and under, they would lend you the money for how much? What were the terms?
I'm not sure. I think it was off the money you're putting in, so they give you 100% of your cash value.
Whoa.
You go in.
So if I put in 100 grand, they're going to give me 200
200 grand and you can invest that.
Pretty good. Maybe it's goddamn good. And they did a really, really, really good job there. I remember I had looked up the numbers here and I see, or young Jamie actually bring up the numbers for the Mayberry IPO. Not that one. Mayberry Jamaica Equities. So you put in MJE. MJE is a ticker, as I tell people. If you don't know the ticker is like the nickname for a stock. So MJE is Mayberry Jamaica Equities. You look on the stock exchange's website, that's what you look for. I know Wigton was the thing that put people. 31,000 applicants.
Quite a lot.
31,000 applicants, 4 times bigger than Wisynco, which was a huge one also.
Crazy.
Yeah. And 12,000 new people came to the market. Yo, let me give you an example of how big 12,000 people is in terms of the market. I don't think in 2015, there's some months there aren't 12,000 trades.
There's 12,000 trades. And JSE, they had put out there was something in the newspaper some time ago about 200,000 accounts. And trust me, not all, half of those aren't active.
Yeah.
But 12,000 people add into that. So if I say half of them aren't active and 12,000 people coming on, that's 10% of the people.
Yeah, it's a major market, which is why I'm doing stuff like this after years of talking on Twitter. I know you have been talking in the ears or on YouTube. But the point is, I think that now is a time where people are paying attention to it. And young people especially. In Wigton, 50% of the people are below 40. Which is funny because in Jamaica, 50% of the people are below 40.
Below 40.
Yeah,
So
more than 50% of the
representative of the population.
I want to say below 30 too. I could be wrong, but I want to say below 30, definitely below 40.
Could you answer the age-old question of why exactly should people invest?
Weren't really going to go into that yet, but thank you, Bam. So, Sir Bam, great question. Why do people invest? So people who came to my thing on Saturday, I've heard me talk about it. So I give them a little spiel I tell people because I start off the whole thing talking specifically about money. Because investing, in Jamaica, there's a thing where we separate investment from money or from life. For some reason, we treat it as if it's something else. But you have to remember, the start of it is money. In fact, I start people off with value. So money only has one use, I say. But I'll ask you, Bam. You ask, what do you think the value of money is?
To acquire things.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's kind of it, right? Yeah. So it's personal, but I say that money only has one use, and you can only invest it. That's literally all you can do. When you buy a loaf of bread, the bread costs, I don't know how much bread costs, $200 for a loaf of bread. I can look really bad if I don't know how much a loaf of bread is.
I'm paying $300.
I don't eat that much bread. I'm sorry, I don't eat that much bread. It's supposed to be healthy. I try to be healthy, but let's say a loaf of bread is $200, right, or $300. What you're saying is that I am investing $300 into getting a loaf of bread that will taste how I expect it to taste, right? That matches my mind of good bread, right? And so sometimes maybe you spend the $300 and you get more. Like, it tastes really, really good. Oh, so actually I use a great example. You ever go Burger King? I should probably use in case I use it again. I don't care. I'll sing over my tune. You go Burger King, you order onion rings and you get fries in it.
Mm-hmm.
So then it's like, you feel like, yo, I win.
There's an extra.
Right? I win. I got all the onion rings I ordered, plus I got some fries. It's like I'm winning. That's literally, so if you imagine if the onion rings cost what, $2? $300.
$250.
Okay, $250. so onion rings cost $250, right? And you get fries with it. You feel like, yo, I have gotten more than $250.
That's worth
it. And that's all investment is. Finding something that you're buying at cost that in the future is going to give you a higher value. The value doesn't always have to be money. So like I say, you invest in onion rings and you got some fries, you came out on top, bro. That's like 25% gains. You invest in a car and you tell yourself, yo, this car can last maybe 5 years without giving me trouble. And it lasts 10 years without giving you trouble. Yo, really good investment, long-term investment, right? I wouldn't touch that right now. but that's the same sort of thing as to why people invest. It's a way of finding value now that you believe will be greater value in the future. This is what everybody wants. Everybody wants an increase in value. When the bank lend you money, they charge you interest. Interest is just them saying, I give you $100, you give me back
120.
Yeah, 120, that's 20% interest, right? Literally, that's why people invest. And it's actually a great question because I find that what happens a lot, as I was saying before, is that people take themselves away from investing. And that the investing becomes a thing, like how house building is a thing, or I know how to sew is a thing, and I know...
Like it's more it becomes more attached to sentiment than how it affects your real life.
Exactly.
Like I'm investing for investing's sake.
Yes.
There are a good amount of people that invest in just because investing is a thing to do, not because, hey, I'm going to get something out of this.
Exactly. You find that when they start doing that, it's almost like when you make it into its own thing, unless you have defined it, or you just go through the trouble of defining yourself and putting the parameters together and whatever, then it becomes this ideal up in the sky.
Definitely.
And it can be anything you want it to be, you know? And then before you know it, you don't really have any ideals for it. So it is whatever you want.
Yep.
And then when you get called on it, it's, it don't look as good. That's one thing that I know also came up when a lot of the ladies, there are also a lot of ladies. Let me pause for that. Yo, that's the weirdest thing. I mean, I'm not one to complain if there are women anywhere. I'm really, really happy. And also they're all beautiful. But it's a weird thing that there were 5 men at the event, including me. And it was a full house. 5 men. Apparently guys don't care about making money anymore.
They care about making money. I think a lot of women want to be set for life versus the man, he more spend on this, he more have the money for this.
I don't know. Well, I want to say you're wrong, but I don't know. I really don't know if you're wrong.
From my experience, basically.
Yeah. I mean, it's always from your experience. That's not anything. I'm one of those people, like, it must be from your experience. It's just, it's so weird that there weren't many women. Even the men that were there, like, 2 of them came with girls. So 2 girls came and they brought 2 guys.
Girlfriend dragged them.
Yeah, it was two girls came, they brought 2 guys. So there's 2 guys, there's me, there's 3. There was another guy there, 4. And there's 1 guy at the back, 5. My Lord. 5 out of 35 people, roughly. What's the percentage on that? So you get used to that, people. That's part of investing. Immediately, what's the percentage on that is the number one question we ask ourselves all the time. 14%. Men are 50% of the society, and 14% of young men nowadays who want money didn't come. It's so weird. I don't know what it is. I talked to a girl, and she said to me that maybe it's because, men like to learn with the pretense that they already know what they're learning. I don't know how true it is, but I also learn not to tell women that they're wrong when they say things like that. Yeah, but it sound right, right?
It sounds right.
Yeah.
I think of a lot of scenarios where that's applicable.
She's like, yo, think about it. A man gonna come there, I'm gonna sit down and looking up to you to tell them something that them don't know, But the guys that were there asked great questions, learned a lot more, and they, I don't know what it is. Maybe people are. I don't. Maybe people are richer. I know prosperity seems to be doing really well. Are people that rich that you don't have to know investing in the hottest investing time right now?
Paycheck good enough.
Boy, I don't know. But I'm happy that event happened. I know I said that before. I'm happy, and I'm happy that more people are getting interested in the market. I'm happy that a lot of people got in on the Wigton, which means that a lot of people made a lot of money for their very first
definitely.
investment. Yeah. Yeah, you remember your very first investment, Danai? Your very first, what's the very first?
Very first investment. Oh, funny enough, my very first investment did not go well for me.
What was it?
Oh, because I bought cable and wireless. Just new to the market, and I saw Randy tweeting on Twitter.
Oh, God.
I had a friend, Chadwick. Shout out
I did
Chadwick.
not know that's how this story goes.
Yeah, man. Chadwick said, yo.
Yes.
No, so Chadwick, he was investing from in university, but he was telling me to, yeah, man, then I invested, do this in school. I did not do this in
Was
school,
Chadwick
really.
in one of my...
Yeah, he was.
He was at the
Yeah,
time,
man.
yeah, I remember the
No,
name.
he wasn't in there at the time yet. But
wasn't?
he and I were at it the very same day.
How did you get... What, did
So
I invite you guys?
He invited us.
Okay.
We saw you on Twitter and you're on a no more free Randy. You're no more talking about the market like certain ways until you can get some out there more than just, yeah, man.
You know, as peace, but go on talk. We didn't share my drama.
So we kept, for weeks, we're on your case saying, yo, like you said something about stocks and we're trying to go around it to try to get to say something about it, right?
Yeah,
So
everybody I said, oh, he's trying to outsmart me.
we swear, yeah, man, this is the smart thing, Randy. Not
Jesus
going
Christ, the
know what we're
girls were
talking
right.
about.
They like to learn from men, but pretend that they know what they already do. Oh my God!
So
Women have us figured out.
So I'm sure you're fed up with us and say, I hear, just join this group if you actually care to learn. Cool.
Yeah, you know what it was? I mean, not that I remember that specific. I remember Chadwick. I remember adding you, but I remember it's always the same thing. I used to show people a course. So shout out to my brother Nigel. Nigel is very sensitive. I wouldn't load up in day job, but he's a director or something good. And he said to me that, you know, you're always putting this much energy into getting people there. How about you save yourself a lot of energy by finding the people who are serious early and just putting a little bridge between you and them. So like, what do you mean? Well, we already had the group at that time, and he's like, we're the course. If they want to join the group, have them do the course. If they can't bother to do the course, then they're not serious enough to talk to you. Moreover, doing the course, as you know, allows you to learn the language, allows you to understand the things that I say are simple, are really simple, but you understand why I say, once you do the course, you understand. And then I would just show it to people. So if you actually do the course, that's step one, I see that you're actually serious. Secondly, I look for people who said certain things. I always pay attention to people who say certain things, who have sense. People, I believe that intelligent people can't hide. It's very hard for us to hide. So like, a good example is, I keep asking, although I think these guys might not be so happy, but the new crop of analysts on Twitter, I asked, they had that thing, Stocks on the Rocks.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and they had a video there, and somebody in the background was saying something about the pensions in Jamaica. Yeah, I mean, you've heard me talk about it.
Definitely.
Yeah. So I immediately, I want to know who the hell is that talking about it. Because, yeah, I mean, by this point, if somebody's saying it, I figure that they're on the path that they want. And so I always do the same way when I was on Twitter. I always paid attention to what people said. The people that I saw were thinking, actually putting two and two together. And those are the people I'd invite because I've always, the reason I've always done this is that I don't have many people I can talk to about it. That's the weird thing. People have, everybody, like I'm the guy that all my friends know that they can come to and ask me about stocks and whatever, blah, blah, blah. I don't have anybody to go to.
Definitely.
So when, and I keep telling them, like, guys, I don't always know that I'm right.
And boy, I'm glad I found you. I'm glad I found you first when I started my journey.
Yeah.
Because boy,
Well, yeah, there are other.
no,
Yeah,
who do I talk to?
yeah,
I jump to you.
No, there are a lot of other people out there, but you might find that, well, yeah, it's a different time. It was so funny because it's not that long ago. It's like, what, 2 years?
Yeah, 2 years. 2017 I started.
2017.
Definitely. Wow.
So you bought cable and wireless first on your own.
No, I know. So I joined the group and you guys were speaking about cable and that you had already bought. So I figured, hey, if these guys were buying cable and wireless, it's a good stock, so I'm going to buy. All right, great. So I joined the group. I saw you guys talking about CWJ that you had already bought.
Yeah.
So I figured, hey, these guys all here. They know investing. Randy always on Twitter talking about this. So buy CWJ too, since it's a good stock since Randy bought before. Which is funny because Randy always says, do not listen to what I say. Just question it. Have a conversation. Dig deep into the numbers.
Yeah.
And it's cool.
I get things wrong.
It was $127, I think, I bought it at.
$1.27.
$1.27. I know for cable and wireless. You know how that is for cable and wireless.
Yeah, I don't think they know. I don't think they remember. It would have.
It was fluctuating. So
Did they get the buyout off already?
no, it was, yeah, man. No. 2017, so it was before that.
This is when I knew it was coming.
Start of the year, February.
Yeah.
And I was saying it was bouncing around. I bought it 127. I never reached back up there for the longest while.
For a long time, it went below $1.
Yeah. And I was sitting there looking at my loss saying, boy, I really should listen to people just off the bat.
Yeah, you know what? I like that you got burned the first time I never ran you. So funny enough, my story is the opposite. Some people have heard it already. So Cayman Islands is the first stock I bought also when I was younger. So I didn't use my money. It's my uncle's money. And I never ever know the date. One day I'll go and check the date, or maybe I won't. It's whenever Moneyline had just started with JMB. Shout out to JMB for having that back in the day. It was a really great idea back then. I'm trying not to say that it's not a good idea anymore. Yeah, but the market has moved on, but they have kept it up to date to their credit. And they keep trying. It is still a good platform. It's still the only platform I know outside of maybe Mayberry's where I can do a market order.
Yes, I'm not finding that.
The only place I can do a market order is there. So thank you, JMB, for having that still. But yeah, I Moneyline had just started. I was staying at his house. And I remember he was showing me it. I'd read about it. I mean, I was a good little nerd. I was in high school. And I'd read about stocks. And I say, I don't understand it. So I thought I understood something. Him said, which one you think? I think to myself, Cayman Wireless looked like it good. That was Cayman Wireless at the time. It was Cayman Wireless at the time. And I say, Cayman Wireless look like it might be good. Right, let's try Cayman Wireless. I think he put $1 million in there or something, whatever it is. Point is, I'd stayed with him for like maybe 2 weeks or 3 weeks, whatever amount of time. But I know right when I'd left, by the time I'd left, it had doubled. And that just
blew your mind.
It's like, because we didn't actually do anything, right? And $1 million, it's $1 million. And this is way back then. But this is in 2017. This is, as in high school. Yeah, this is as maybe in third form. This is 19 years because we were recording now in July. And
wow.
this was it would have been summer of I won't say third form, so it would have been 2000 or 1999, something like that. So I'm going towards 20 years. I think August is 20 years since I did it, and that's since when I paid it. And it doubled, like I said. It doubled in the time, and in the time that it doubled, it allowed me to one, get surprised that this is possible. Two, decide that I really want to pay attention to understand it. And three, because I'm a nerd, I like to see how things work. I want to understand it. I need to know right off the bat how it works. Plus, it make money. The idea for a nerd at the time is that if you can get anything to work, and it can also get you some money, then you can do whatever you actually want to do in life.
Yeah, definitely.
Funny story, I've now grown up. I'm a lot older now. I'm 32, I turned 33 in October. And it turns out that if you can get money from doing whatever you like, you can do whatever you want. It's the secret to life. But no, people charge you 15 grand to hear that at a conference. You're unlocking the light within or whatever. But yeah, I caught the bug then. But what I was saying to you, Bam, earlier that I don't like my story is that I have not actually had any losses. I don't like saying it because I know how it sounds. But it doesn't mean that I haven't gotten things wrong. The greatest thing that we get wrong is timing. In investing is timing. Which is why I'm so adamant with the industry and when they're dealing with regular people in that they don't tell people how important timing is. Whenever anything goes awry, they come up with one thing to tell you, long term. Oh, this screwed up? Wait, I told you to buy it when it says $20 though. Listen, in the long term, it's worth a lot more. That's I don't hear long term income to my money, bro. I want to hear my money doing what I wanted within the time. Or if it isn't, I'm getting a sensible reason as to why it isn't, right?
Case in point, people that bought JC at $40 the other day.
Wow, I'm not that's the nice saying that I'm not co-signing that at all. But to be fair, you know what? Here, that's a question I got Saturday after my event. People ask me, why do people do that? I had to explain to them that when you understand average pricing, sometimes
it makes sense. But
yeah.
I know I've had people come to me, they just started and they said they spoke to the advisor, JC was on a run, so let's catch it at the end. Let's catch it because the news is coming up, it's going to be worth it, it's going to fly. But at 40, here they are.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah. I hear that story for a lot of stocks too much times.
That is, yeah, that's crazy. I don't know what to say to that because I hear the story a lot also, and people DM me those sort of things all the time, and they don't know, and they see this, and they don't even know. They don't know if they made money or if they've lost money. They don't know.
That's the next thing they don't understand.
Yeah,
so the stock market is an abstract concept to them.
Yes. And then you have to look for like the gurus within the stock market who will guide you in this magical way. And like, nothing else in life do we look for people to give us a different way. Everything comes back to your general life, how you live day to day, and everything has to be linked to that.
If anything about what's happening on Twitter right now, what I'm thankful for is that people are spending time to break it down and people are spending time to try to understand.
Oh, yeah. Big up. I have to say big up to Mark Gale. That's a funny story. I'll go into that after. Big up to Mark Gale for also doing an event this week. I heard his was successful also. I know a couple of people that went to mine went to his, and I can only speak about mine because I was only at mine, but it's only good things I'm seeing on Twitter. People are happy that it's happening, and I've been begging. People pay attention to my tweets. I've been begging for years for the space to get to this space. There was a time when it was just me alone bawling on my throat every day on Twitter again and again. Oh, buy this stock. Oh, look at this. If you'd bought this in last year September, 8 months later you'd have made 250%. I am sick and tired of that. I don't like myself. I wouldn't follow me, but I am glad know that when I do it, people pay attention. And the thing I'm really happy about is that people DM me now and say, yo, I listened to you, I got into it, I tried that little thing, and I make 200% of my money. I mean, I feel mixed in terms of like, I don't like when they tell me that I did because I told them to.
Yeah.
But yo, when somebody say them, take them last 50 grand and then put it in something, and 8 months later, like, I know people who bought Barita at $9 with the last money that they had last year.
Yeah. Oh, imagine that? No.
Yeah. That's what. It's at $100 no.
Yeah, $9 around
$9 to $90. 10x. Let me tell you, for people who 50 grand is their last.
Imagine that.
500,000. And those people, they're like, yo, anything Randy said goes. I'm like, no, bro, no, I don't need that kind of.
And the next thing you don't know when Randy is talking about it, he might be speaking about it just for the case of speaking about it. But
yeah, it makes it uncomfortable speaking sometimes. It makes it uncomfortable speaking. I remember years ago, because like I said, I started this journey in high school. I've always paid attention to stocks throughout the years then. And I remember reading about Ben Bernanke, who used to be the chairman of the Federal Reserve in America. And I remember reading that he doesn't like to speak publicly, and that he's not allowed to speak publicly. And I said, oh, he's pretending. And I said, no, I'm nowhere near on Ben Bernanke's thing. But I understood why. His explanation was that he'll say something,
and everybody runs.
And because people look for every single thing in your words.
And dissect it.
Yeah, man.
And a lot of times people hear what they want to hear.
So they try to take not a lot of time, the majority of the time. Yeah, and then they put it in your voice. Yeah. Randy said that you told me that you were to. You said. I saw you tweeting about X Fund, and you said you did tweet about X Fund. It doesn't mean I said to buy it, but read what I'm saying. Understand the X Fund thing was also a funny thing, but I won't jump to that just yet. But I'll say.
Oh yes.
Yeah, the X Fund thing is a funny thing because I remember when I made some, and those who remember, I won't even go too deep into it, but I did say something about X Fund, but it wasn't about X Fund. It was about a recommendation that regular people are getting from the brokers about X Fund, right before it was going to go through a very bad time, a very obvious bad time. Yeah. And people who think, so for background, I never gave anybody background. We're terrible at this podcast. I'll do it right now. You can tell Dana your background. Dana is very qualified when it comes to numbers.
Compliance and risk analyst at Mayberry. I did actuarial science in university. So math, that's me.
And you passed.
Yeah, I passed.
There you go, right? And I went to Arden. And I did not like math. I am not a math person. That's why I used to say for many, many years. I did like computers. I was a proper nerd. I followed my nerdism, and I did learn programming in school. Then I went on to drop out, which was very interesting. Not for the cool reasons either, just for the OG reasons, poor. I just couldn't pay for it. I didn't get a student's loan. A long story. I won't go to the student's loan. I have a podcast episode on student loan and loans in general, and I'll talk about my student's loan story.
Everybody was waiting for the next Bill Gates. Oh, he dropped out of school?
Oh, yeah. Well, not me. But I did drop out of school, and I then went on to have a nice long arc that involved me learning the sense behind math, seeing practically what it's for. And since then, I no longer say I'm not a math person. But I understand very much when people say to me that, yo, you don't understand. I see the numbers and in my mind go, listen, in school I did literature, right? I said I became a doctor so that I don't need to know math. I'm like, yo, I'm sure there's a bit of math involved in being a doctor.
Everything.
But I understand when people say that because I used to say it. I don't say it anymore. And I try to bring people to understand the math. You know, it is the same thing as investing. What they're doing is they're turning math into something else.
Yeah, man. So
other than
math is really real life.
It's life.
Very applicable. So I've always loved math. I can't sell backside, which is why I'm not doing it. No.
Nerd. Yeah, well, boy, yeah. Actuary. I mean, I went to school at actuary. Shout out to Pickles. Pickles, what everybody knows. Dre Pigglesworth, who is in Japan doing whatever he does in Japan. He has his own blog and stuff. So yeah.
I love math. Give me math and I'm fine. Actual science, I found it uninteresting. So that was
actual science uninteresting.
So that specific application of math, that just was not me. They're talking about insurance. So my first, I wasn't investing at the time, but my first encounter with investing on the stock market was in a class I actually liked for AXI. Can't remember the name. Miss Boswell, Kim Boswell, she taught the class. She told me she invests, and one of the examples was, I think something that she invested in. She bought for $2.
She was in a group at one point.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Cool.
And I like talking to her because I really liked her. Yeah.
She bought it for $2 and sold it for $4. And I was sitting in class, like, so, Miss, how you do that? So I spoke to her about it afterwards. Like, more than once after class, I say, oh, Miss, how you invest? We need to talk. And so she spoke to me about it. Open an account with the broker. I just never pulled the trigger until my mess up. Yeah, but learning experience. But yeah, that was the first time I heard about investing. That was actually what interested me within the whole Oxide program.
Because that's practical application.
Yeah.
But I always thought actuaries had practical application, but you guys
we definitely have practical application. It's just not necessarily everybody's practical application. So not everybody encounters the math that we do. So
how do you check if you're right? Like, did 10% of the population actually died? That sort of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, but and I know you really are a nerd, because I've never heard anybody who does that say that they didn't find it interesting. And I know that there's not many of them in the world. It's like maybe a couple 100,000 in the world.
Yeah, small amount.
Yeah, like you can always get a job somewhere.
Yeah, trust me, they hear AXI and they're ticking the box already.
Yeah.
Even if it's not necessarily related, but they'll find a way for it to be related.
You're not afraid of numbers, which was the point, that to you guys, numbers are real. And the same way, like, investing started getting real. Investing for me was always real because it was always applicable to what I'm looking at. I did the cable and wireless thing. I don't truly remember why, but it was related to something I saw in real life. And ever since then, everything that I have ever invested in has been me seeing something that I see as a real event, a real applicable thing, and I've invested, which is probably why I've never lost.
Which is funny. That's where the difference. When we speak, I'm always finding some way for the numbers to add it to it. So my investing for me is the numbers being applicable in real life.
Oh yeah. No,
so
same thing.
I always jump back to it has to be some numbers in my mind. So every time I speak to you, it's always some numbers have to be running. So if I miss it, it's probably because the numbers aren't there for me yet.
But I don't know if I don't see it that way. If I see something, I see. So earlier we were talking about the little device. To me, you know what, the thing I never said that occurred to me was that they probably did that way because that's cheaper. Because I thought there are only two things. Either they have it work on your breath. So for the people listening, we're talking about a little vape pen, and it doesn't have a battery. But it obviously has a battery, but it doesn't have you can't charge it. It's rechargeable. It's not rechargeable. It's disposable. Sorry. And so Bam was explaining to us how it's made, that they use this, there's a sort of chemical process. In other words, they made a chemical battery inside it, right, Bam? That's essentially what they did. They made a chemical battery. So somebody in China worked out that the cost of getting a little piece of cotton, soaking it, making a chemical battery and sealing it is maybe 1 or half a cent cheaper than getting a cheap battery. And it can last 6 months, so you give it a shelf life of 4 months. And you give yourself 1 month in shipping, and you have 1 month in between there. And then you use just enough of the liquid so that it's always below the level of the battery. For me, I make all that fit together, and I know that there's a number behind it. And so when I see the number, for me, that's proof. And that's the two things I work with, that and proof. So the numbers and the proof. And you come right back to finance. I always talk about how I got into Lasco distributors. I was at the time, when I dropped out of school and I had to get a job, right? And I got a job, I got another job, and I was working at Carreras in IT for a while. Shout out to Carreras for paying me for a long time and molding a lot of
They
people.
paid a lot of people for a long time with those dividends.
Yeah. Paid a whole heap of people. Still paying a lot of people, yeah. I don't hold them, but still paying a whole heap of people. So I was there and I got a chance. It was that when you work in those multinationals, they're very open-minded. So they're like, you know, for somebody to be an internal auditor, because I wasn't a numbers person. Up to that point, I still, even as investing, I still play the numbers. And I know you're talking about real money. So if I get it wrong, there's money behind that. But they allowed me to try being an internal auditor, and I did it for a while. And I went around the whole of Jamaica. So every month I traveled the whole island, and I then saw. I remember after school all the time, all over the country, I'd see these little bottles the kids throw away, and these weird bottles. And when you go to the shopkeepers, you know, you try to establish some rapport with them, and you talk to them about stuff. You some of them think what the pit in the mice buy, and like what I asked him what it was. Him says, "iCool is a new thing from Lasco." I said, "Word." Everywhere I had gone in Jamaica, I had seen it.
Bottles.
And I checked Lasco numbers after that, and I'm seeing. I mean, the numbers look the same. The profit rise look the same. They look good, but there wasn't anything big yet. And the only mention of iCool was that they had launched iCool. So I immediately just put 2 and 2 together. iCool is obviously selling like crazy on the road, and they haven't reported those numbers yet. So all I have to do is buy into it, and it will happen. So said, so done. Couple months later, I put in the money I had. A couple months later, Lasco reported huge revenue, huge earnings, and it's on the back of iCool's. I think I remember reading it on the back of iCool sales. And I was like, hold on, this is real. It makes sense. But then I stopped and I said, hold on, it cannot be that simple. And that feeling has never left me. My entire life, anytime I want to know that an investment is good, anytime I'm sure I'm near to the end or I'm at the end, once I wait, no, it can't be this simple.
It can't.
It can't be this simple.
Hold on,
they bought Playa. But Playa is a public company. I can see that Playa doesn't have a good quarter coming. It has like 2 bad quarters coming. But then that would mean that they, being X1, aren't going to have a set of good quarters.
It only makes sense.
No, it can't be that simple. Literally, right? So said, so done. Bad quarters come, share price tank, terrible. Oh God, why would this happen? And then, of course, we saw the Sagicor people do the gymnastics that I've never seen before. I respect that. I can never tweet that stuff and people don't know, but I look at it and I was like, I respect that because I know the conversation that must have happened in like the board meetings. I know the conversation man say, yo, we are not reporting that. Do what you need to do to big up Carreras for that. It helped me to understand a lot of what happens behind the scenes of this. Because Carreras is a publicly listed company, which I do not represent in any way, shape, or form. Guys, I don't work there anymore. It's been years. But at the time, I do remember this because they're a very serious company in terms of, I know Marcus Steele, who is the MD now. And Marcus is an accountant. When you ask him what he is, he's the managing director of Carreras. When you ask him what he is, he'll tell you he's an accountant. He doesn't play when it comes to his numbers. Very, very intelligent guy. He knows his stuff. But what that taught me was a lot of the conversations that happen. So you hear an analyst talk about like, revenue, blah, 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 blah. And it's this high pie in the sky thing. But if you're talking about like a red stripe, which isn't listed anymore, but if you're talking about like a red stripe, I don't hear you pie in the sky, bro. You need to talk to me about how many parties are happening because you know that people are drinking. Or people aren't really drinking red stripe at parties. Maybe it's tourists. So our tourist arrivals up. Or maybe exports are high. That sort of thing. That's the real thing. And I also know that those real conversations affect other real things that you would never believe, right? So when I see a company the size of Sagicor reorganize itself and find a reason to say that, part of, we are, what did they say? That Playa is
acquired Playa, and Playa is now an associate company of X1.
Yes, which are justified by virtue of their control over the board.
Of the company.
Which, I mean, I'm not saying they're wrong. They're right. It's just I respect that move because I know what it takes to get a machine the size of Sagicor to not just move to flip. They literally change an entire revenue model in 2-3 quarters. But boy, I respect that. I respect that stress. I respect what the conversations that must have happened. And now they're almost out of it. I think. Now they're looking a lot better.
Right now 2 quarters out. So
a lot better.
A lot better.
That's not to say to buy, guys. Not saying to buy. I'm not saying to buy. I'm saying to look into the companies and pay attention to it. Pay attention to what the companies do, which is a question I always get asked. What's some another questions you always get asked? Let me hear that.
How to read the reports, and I don't know how to. I don't know where to bridge the gap because the course we used to work with,
Yes.
that's no longer there.
Yes,
I
that
found
course doesn't exist anymore. Yes.
But
yes.
I can't get up and tell. So they ask, what do I look for? I tell them read the reports.
Mm-hmm.
How to read the reports.
What to get from the reading of the reports is always
And
a big deal. Yeah.
It's very different for every company. You can't look at every company and say, oh, this company compared to that company, which is very different. They're different business model. You can't just look at a report and say that. You have to compare it properly in industry, whatever that company does. So what I took from Randy was know what the company is doing.
Yeah, number one.
How do they
I
make
didn't
money?
want to say because one of my events, but it's right. You're right. Yeah.
So how do they make money?
Yeah.
Are they making money?
Yeah. Straight
and will
up.
they make money?
I say to people right off the bat. Number one, know what a company actually does for money. Not what they say they do for money,
Gosh.
what they actually do for money. Lots of companies tell you they do something for money. Lots of companies are known for doing other things for money. What they actually do to make money is a complete other difference. I use the example of Grace. Everybody knows Grace. I'll ask Bam because Bam is in the investing. Bam, what does Grace do for money?
Make food.
All
Right? And their biggest earner would be?
Grace Foods.
There we go. Grace's biggest earning is Western Union money transfer. If Western Union closes down tomorrow, Grace is in trouble.
And Blue Paw.
Yeah.
Blue Paw, they, as far as everybody concerned, they make soap.
Yes. Blue Bomber.
But with the lumber department, they giving us all the other people have to look into the numbers, and other people saying, wait, they know say lumber make most of their money. And I was like, yeah, but
Shout out to Mark again, who was telling me that they cannot magically become valued more just because they've been spun off. And
it's a bit, to me, it's a little bit more than magic.
yeah. I didn't think it was magical. It was shout out to Chris Berry. That's all I said. Yeah. Follow his footprints sometimes.
Yeah. Following his own footprints. He's following his own footprints.
Yeah. Once I was like, I've seen that before.
Yeah.
I've seen this before. Where have I seen this before?
Yeah.
And it's the same exact thing.
And what I tell you, people don't get it. People who have seen it before are asking me what's going to happen with it, and to go back through what I think is going to happen with over same guy, same play, in my opinion.
Same thing in my opinion. I'm like, I don't know if it's true, but think about this: if I do something and it makes me money, and you see me starting to do that thing again, chances I'm going to do that same thing again, bro. It makes me money.
Why reinvent the wheel?
Yeah,
it only makes sense to me.
Yes, and it makes so much. It creates wealth. Which is always was maybe my driving force. I don't know other people if they have the same driving force for me. Like I get asked that often. I remember after the event, somebody came to me and I said, "Yo, I've been following for 3 years. Even the same thing you're doing 3 years ago, the same thing you do now. You're still talking about it, and I can't get it." At first, they started following me. I think they said that they think it's fake or it's like a scam or something. But then I don't ask people for nothing. I don't tell them, and then I'm saying things and it's making money. So why do you do it? And the only reason I can come with is I truly believe in. Like I see the value of it. I don't know how to explain, but I see the value of it, and I want people to see the value of it because it's tangible. Like people have, like it's the first time in our lives that we get this opportunity. You can literally. It's like you can literally change your entire existence when you talk to those rich old white people from America. I've spoken to a couple of them sometimes, and you hear them say, "How did they get a start?" And they're like, "Oh, back in the 80s, there was a lot going on for whatever." And that's when they were in and they built all that. And even that, whatever that thing is, might have ended, but the money don't go away.
Show
right?
Warren Buffett.
Yeah.
Who did the same thing for himself.
Yeah. Whatever you start with, sometimes it go down, but if you do it well enough, you have built a base that can go into other things. The money doesn't ever go away. And that's, I just want people to know that now is the time for the first time in many, if you're under 40, definitely it's the first time in your life, and I'm under 40. But I pay attention to a lot of history. It's the first time in our lives it's the first time, if you're under 40, that you have an opportunity to own something that will last long and allow you to earn strongly possibly for the rest of your life. Like when you hear about the people who, I listened to a podcast the other day, another podcast, an American one, where the guy that they're talking to, he was rich. And they just had to explain the guy as to why he was rich. And it's like, he had a couple of friends in college and he invested in one of his friends' company. And that friend was Jeff Bezos.
Oof.
So that's why he's a billionaire. That's all. He's just Jeff Bezos' friend and he invested early. And if you think about it, maybe a more local example, a very simple example, why NCB closed at today? 216, 217?
About there, yeah.
About 216. It's a normal conversation to hear people say, yo, I know people who have NCB from it at $6.
Shoutout to Steph.
Right?
$19.
Yeah, right? Right? But in the same way, this is our time. Now is the time when somebody can say, yo, I know somebody have lab from it at $1.
Oh, God, imagine
Right? Yeah. No, literally, there are people who can say that. There are people who can say, yo, I know somebody who have blue power from it. There was blue power, I know $4 or something. Yeah. I know somebody have blue power from before the lumbar division.
Oh, the Lasco. People are... the amount of money people have made on Lasco.
Yes. The amount of money that people have made off NCB. That, yo, shout out to people like my brethren Ryan Strong. Ryan knows his stuff. Ryan is one of the few, and I'll say it openly, Ryan is one of the few people cemented in the industry that I have ultimate respect for. I didn't even always know that Ryan knew what he was doing. I've known Ryan for years. I didn't always know Ryan knew what he was doing. And then one day it clicked to me. Like he gave me a tip or something, and he knows not just the local market, but he also knows the international market. He knows the US market. But Ryan don't play the small money. Ryan has high value clients. But I know that once he told me like something for the international market, like that, Ryan don't make no sense. And in 2 quarters, and if you and me know in our term, 2 quarters is 6 months. But in my mind, 6 months later, I'm not thinking about it. But 6 months later, what he said happened. In fact, I've seen him say things like Ryan is a man that I trust over 2 to 3 year timeline. Yeah, man. If Ryan say gonna happen, yeah, man. Yeah, man. I don't want to tell him stories for him, but it's some man that him say, yo, Ryan talking to me about Berger for a long time, bro. Ryan talking about Berger from when Berger is in single digits, and people saying this guy is crazy. This guy's mad. Why would I do this? But he looks at things. He pays attention to businesses on a longer scale, and I respect that about Ryan. And yeah, it's something that I see, something that I really respect. So Ryan, let me know what can be done in the long term and the medium term. And then for me, I've learned more about what the day-to-day is, and I guess you've learned some of the short term. But I know short term is like a curse word, so I won't necessarily touch that one just yet.
But generally, I don't trust people with their view on the long term, because as we say, it's just like throw it away.
Lots of people do that. Just a couple with that. They go, anything that misses, they say good in the long term. But the truth is, like I tell you guys, the truth is
everything good in the long term.
Everything is good in the long term. Yo, I think I'm still holding on a little bit of hope for Siboney.
I can see where the value can come from.
There's value that can be built there. It's so funny because I remember when I said the same thing about music.
Oh,
and people are like, yo, this all know you're crazy. Because sometimes you have a good idea, but this is rubbish, Randy. And literally, not in a year later, music that was worth nothing was worth a lot more. No, it's question about how much it's worth now again. But it's worth, I can tell you this is worth more now than it was then. Yeah, I have to give it that. It's worth more now than it was then. And it just goes to show that you can never say something is bad in the long term or good in the long term, just like that. So somebody have to, don't tell me no long term, tell me what a date. What date and time. When people come, you listen, you say you hear nothing else from this podcast other than me and Danai rambling about rubbish. You can take this from it. When you go to your broker, tell them what you want and tell them the time that you want it in. And they should be able to tell you something to help you meet that schedule. Unless it's something crazy. Like, don't go to a broker and tell them you want 100% of your money in 6 months, right? They're not going to do that, right? Or by tomorrow or anything crazy like that, right? Can you do that on your own? Yes, you actually can. Would I tell you to go and ask a broker for that? No, because brokers have a certain level of responsibility in how they have to act, in what they have to say, in what they have to recommend. Have they been doing the greatest job? I still maintain no. The brokerage space in Jamaica need a world of work. They need a whole heap of work. I've been trying to do it for paid. I've been trying to do it for free. They need a whole heap of work. However, if you take anything from this podcast, take this for yourself. Think about what you want for your money. If you have like $100,000 put on, think about what you want for your money. Say, all right, maybe it's $100,000 you have on. You want, I don't know, you want to go visit your people in Florida for Christmas and you need, you go there, you want braff. So $250 for the ticket. You're going to spend maybe $250 going out, plus you have to do a little shopping. That's maybe another $500 though. $250, $255, that's another grand. So you need 100%. Wow, that's not a good thing. I don't want to give nobody 100% 6 months. But let's say you have a $200,000 then and you want $100,000 in, an extra $100,000 in December. So then you have a 50% target, which is still high, still hard, still stretch. If you're being responsible, very, very stretch target in terms of 50% for the 6 months. Go to your broker, tell them you want that, and ask them what products do they recommend to get you there. Your broker should be giving you advice around your time and your goals, not what them say might be good or might go up. Is something going to be good and going to go up? Ask them when. Literally, just ask them when.
Ask them when.
Yeah. Buy Carreras. Okay, why? They give good dividends. How much? Literally, how much? And them tell you what the payment is. Everything them tell you needs to be related as a percentage of your money.
Definitely.
So if it's 100 grand I'm giving you, what's the dividends? Boy, if you put your 100 grand in there, in a year you're going to get, like they give maybe 8 cents on the dollar. No, what that mean to me in terms of my 100 grand. Let them tell you, but let them look you in the eye and tell you, say you're going to get 8,000 Jamaican dollars. Yeah, let them tell you that. You're not getting 8,000. What's that good dividend? A good dividend is 4%. Oh. Yeah, I haven't calculated Carreras' dividend, but I don't really care about it.
I've known it for a while.
Yeah, it's not that great. I don't think, but it's great if you have a lot of money. That's what dividends are for.
Or if you had it from way back.
Yeah, or if you had it from way back. And if you have it from way back, you get message to everybody who have NCB from long time or Grace from when it was $13 or whatever. If you're serious about your money now is the time to put some more money on top of that, because that is the real thing. That is the opportunity for you to, what you call average up. So your percentage gain not going to look as good anymore. But chances are, if this is new to you, you don't even know what your percentage gain is anymore. So this is the time. If you have any of those stocks that your parents gave you from when you were little and you still have them, sort it out now. Go and talk to the broker. Tell them what you want and when you want it, and ask them what they can do in that time. Let them tell you so them can't do nothing, and then ask them what's the best you can do. But ask them in terms of percentages. Yeah, ask them.
It's how people sell things without actually selling anything.
Yep.
You can get, I give you $1 million and you give me $8,000. Yeah, it's all nice in your pocket, but you can spend the $8,000 doing whatever. But how much out of $1 million is $8,000?
Yeah, exactly. And they don't ever like to say that, and then they don't ever like to talk about their fees.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
Make sure you calculate your fees into when you're buying a stock, so you can know if you're actually making money.
Yeah.
But if you don't clear those fees, then you're not really making anything.
Serious thing. Serious. How people... Yeah. And that's like, I have these little questions I ask people whenever they say they know stocks are worth it in the industry, and they say they invest. I immediately ask them little questions like, how much you make last year? What's your gain? What's your gain currently?
Whenever I hear somebody speaking on the market, I really want to know how much did you make last year? How much are you making now? Because it gives me a level of credibility. Like, I want to know where you are in the market.
Yes.
If you're not really making much, like comparatively, of course, and it has to match your goal. So I'm not going to get up and say, you're making 30% for the year based on whatever. I can't knock you if your goal is in line with that. Yeah. But if you're telling me that you're making a lot of money every year, then I want to know your returns for the year. Exactly. Not your dollar return, your percentage return. If you make $1 million a year from the market, but it's only 15% of the money you put in, I'm not going to be impressed.
My thing is, I start from even before, like I said, I go practical. I see how much you make. If your first word to me is about, no, you need to know the exact number, bro.
I know my exact number every day.
Yeah, if you're tracking it, you need to know. You need to know your exact number, or you have a really good reason why you don't know your exact number. Or when you press them, it's like they don't really know. I said it to the people who came to the conference on Saturday, and I'll say it again. When somebody at a brokerage tell you what to buy, ask them how much them own.
None.
Yeah, when them say, if it's because they're going to get smart, they're going to start lying. They're going to say, I own so much. How much Carreras you own? I have like 100,000 work. Show me. Yeah, man, make them bring it up. They want you buy it, but them bring it up. They want the commission, tell them to bring it up and show you.
And 100,000 worth when? When did you buy it? Like,
just
100,000 worth really not saying much. You could have bought it last year at 100,000, or it's worth 100,000 today. Then you know how much you made on it. Right?
Exactly. That's precisely it. I find that too many people are paying attention to the image versus the actual content.
Yeah, man.
The actual sense of the thing. That's why I have always maintained two things. One, my records of what my gains are, and two, on the records, of course, like my picks and so on. So people have seen me talk about things on Twitter, and there are things I've tweeted about in the past that haven't come out yet. That when they come out, I will say it. But they're out there. And the other thing is my numbers. So the records in terms of my picks and whatever, and my numbers in terms of what I've actually done, my actual gains are where the money is. That's the only way to do it. That's if you're not tracking it. What's that thing? That which is measured matters.
I can always reel off the percentage I made the first year, last year.
Bullshit work, son.
That's right. That's right.
I can always say how much I made first year, last year, and how much I'm right now.
That's right.
Always.
That's right. I don't talk about my heavy years though. Funny enough,
I don't really talk about my gain.
It alienates people. And
Yeah,
the gains now, it's so funny. I look back, even 3 years ago, I look back on the gains then. Like I don't know what I can. It gets harder. It gets harder. The market can get harder. But it's a good problem.
But boy, so this year has been an easy year. Okay?
Money guy.
The money.
Yeah, this week has been an easy week.
Oh, trust me.
Yeah, but it has been a good. It has gone to plan. I don't know if I'm at my goal yet. I'm looking at the sheet as I said this. So I'm not at the goal yet, but I'm close to the goal.
I already wrote my soft target.
Yeah.
And trust me.
I like to talk to people about real things. What's something real that you want to do with your money?
Something real? I want to be able to boy.
Not like the dream, not like the Warren Buffett dream, like just right now, invest something, because I know you do that too. Like I tell people I have invested to pay a light bill.
Oh, so my issue right
Not once either, like many months. Like even this month I'm going to invest to pay my light bill. You know why I did it once and it worked? And every single month I've done it to try and stay sharp, just to keep myself sharp. Saying, yo, let me see if you can make $8,000 off the market. No, you're not. Again, this is not me saying that people should invest in the short term. It's dangerous. Don't do it. It requires knowledge. However, if you do have the knowledge, it can be done. Every day is the end of somebody else's long term. And it's the beginning of somebody else's long term.
Yeah, so my issue right now is, in terms of short term goals of paying for stuff, whenever I invest money, it's hard for me to pull it out. So I always push it. You already talked about it today, but just take the money and go buy the car.
Yeah, take some money. Yeah. It's important for you to sit up so you do the money though.
But for me, it's always, hey, I think I love the investing and making the money. That's a big part of it to me. So if I have more money, I can make more money. So my long-term goal, my 5-year goal is my real goal right now. But so I don't have any short-term goal. I put the money in. I want to pay off this. I don't have much expenses right now. So that's a good thing for me. If you don't have much expensive people, make sure you just put the money, invest the money. Just throw all the money you can at something. Yeah,
your life tip. If you have a nice job or an okay job and you live with your parents,
oh God,
pretend that you're paying rent and take that rent and put it in the market every month. So like, maybe 30 grand, whatever. You'd have to pay rent 30 grand. Take the 30 grand and put it in the market. If you think you want to have a car and I can't wait to get my car, you should. I don't want to tell people that I should be saving in stocks, but I don't believe in saving. I really think you should be saving in stocks.
My bank account is always how much I spend. So I budget and I take out exact amount I go to spend and throw all the rest of it at the market.
You're good. You must be like, I'm a real person. I spend. I can spend. I mean, I'll enjoy myself.
I enjoy myself. I have a girlfriend, so she kind of forces me to do stuff.
Yeah. Good luck to you with her hearing that. She forces you to say, can I force you to do this?
She cool.
But I just feel like it's important for people, especially doing like what you do, because I know what you do. I know how important it is to see. Because for me, when I started doing what you do, it was under stress. It was under, I stopped working, I left corporate. Yeah. So you can't get it wrong. So if you get it wrong, you get burned. But I got it right, and I've continued to get it right, and I'm not out of the woods completely yet, but some months are easier than some. Yeah. You can breathe, you can do some cool things, and I can have fun with the money. I just think it's important for you to do the same thing. Learn to have some fun with the money.
A lot of it is giving out of security.
Yo, that's fun too.
I have a lot in my head. I have so much I can fall back on because of what I've done for myself with it. 3 years, not even 2.5. Yeah, that's what I like to hear. And the thing is, people saying, the market can slow down. That's always another one, people. It's just some quick questions. Is the market right now and it's soon gone, right? Is that regular, normal, basic stuff that we never had, we're having now, and it just comes with it. Yeah, with 50% of the population is definitely below 40. I think it's below 30, but definitely below 40. And a good chunk of that has gone to school in a way that we've never all gone before. And they've gotten jobs now. And part of that is that they've started to earn. And of course, some of them is BPO jobs. They're not making a lot of money. People say, blah, blah. If they're making $1 more than they did, there's something happening. There was somebody the other day economy about a job.
Exactly. And they have to eat lunch every day.
Because of BPO.
They have to eat lunch every day. And they eat lunch from somewhere, and that place wasn't selling them food before. So there's one extra sale for lunch. I mean, you have to buy one extra chicken for every 4 of those people to quarter it up.
And can buy corned beef now.
Exactly, the economy is growing. And what's happening now is something that hasn't happened before. And I think now is the time that we really have to take, we really have to grab it.
Definitely.
Boy, I don't know. I feel like it's so easy for me to fall into the passion of it. But I just can't help it.
What I always hear, bull market.
Yeah, it's a bull
I
market.
don't invest
yeah.
in the market. I don't buy an index of every single stock in the market.
Exactly.
I go in, I pick what I think is good.
Based on the
invest in it.
company.
Definitely.
Based on the company's
Based on-
financials,
invest
based on
in
the company's, yeah.
Exactly. So for me to take a hit, the companies I invest in have to be doing badly. I have to look at the market and say, boy, there are no companies doing well right now. Chances of that, you tell me.
Yeah. Yeah, the market is such a good reflection of the economy that I can almost tell. That's why I care so much about the economy. And you can almost tell if the economy were to start shrinking, but the economy is still growing. We're not using it all up yet.
If the economy starts shrinking, there are companies that will escape that. Like that will probably see good from it. Even.
People aren't good. I shrink. Haiti has 10 million people. There are multi-billionaire companies in Haiti, including Jamaica Broilers. They're okay.
Example. And they're doing really well down there.
Yeah, very, very
People
well
still
done.
eat chicken.
Actually. Yeah, well, they eat a lot of their gathered eggs. I gather eggs is like the number one source of protein.
And we know how-
That's the kind of nerd stuff when you're really into investing in. Yeah, eggs is the number one source of protein in Haiti.
And we know Jamaica Brothers how well they're doing with eggs in general.
Yes. I said something funny. I'm trying to find the right way to say it. I don't know because it's going to be on the podcast.
Oh, yeah.
Jamaica Broilers, funny enough, has one of the strongest networks for the provision of laying eggs
In US.
in the US. They control that market.
You know how big the US is compared to Jamaica?
I don't know how. I keep saying I don't know how the US allowed that to happen.
Save the juice, guys. You've been going for
Would even tap. We haven't even tapped.
Give them more. Tell them where to find you.
Okay.
Tell them more podcasts coming.
Okay, and wrap it up.
All
Yeah.
that good stuff.
All right, cool.
Leave them one.
Leave more on the table.
I like that. I like it. Just a
Smart
great
guy,
producer. Just a great producer. All right. So our producer told us that we need to start giving you guys all the tidbits because we're going into the really good stock tips now and the reasoning. And so we need to give you more to go on. So I have been Randy, which I've been my whole life. And Danai.
I've been here for quite a while. Been Danai for quite a while.
and this has been the Every Mickle podcast. This is what I put together every week, hopefully. I don't want to put myself on the line, but the second I put myself on the line saying that I'm held to it. So let's say every week we'll get it right because we do have great production. This is coming through the BAM Production Studios. It's a great, great, great stuff. Thank you very much for this, BAM. Look out for it. Look out for a lot more coming from us. And I hope you liked it. Let me know if you liked it. Tell me on Twitter if you liked it. Thanks, guys.
All right, thanks, guys.
Tell them your handles.
Handles. Social media, I'm at RTEuro everywhere that I want you to see me. And yeah, on Twitter, I'm at RTEuro pretty much. I write this nice column every week in the Observer called Every Mickle, which is also the name of our website, everymickle.com, www.everymickle.com. And the Mickle is spelled however you think it is. MICKLE, MIKKLE. That whatever you think it is, it should get you there, but it's everymickle.com. Both of them will carry you there. I also every muckle will also carry you there. I just try to cover all the bases, right? I tell you what, for the nerds out there, I could not believe that nobody owned that website. I was like, everymickle.com, no one owns. I bought it immediately. And that was years ago, and now we're here. So, everymickle.com and at RTEuro. Look out for that.
And you can find me on Twitter at hdan_dada. That might change.
Yeah, you probably should change it.
It's going to change eventually.
You probably should change
But that's
that.
where you can find me now.
All right, guys. Thank you.